So I'm going to be spinning up a Windows Server 2016 virtual machine instance using Google Cloud. So first I'm going to create a project. And now Compute Engine is getting initialized, and it's just going to take a couple minutes. All right, now that Compute Engine is initiated, I'm going to create my virtual machine instance. Going to add some labels. I'm going to select the N1 first generation and the G1 small. Going to change the boot disk to Windows Server and Windows Server 2016 Data Center. And now I'm going to set up some additional hard drives. Each hard drive will be 10 gigabytes. All right, so I just created the N1 series G1 small virtual machine running Windows Server 2016 Data Center with 3 10 gigabyte hard drives. And now I'm going to create that and get it initiated. All right, now that my virtual machine is ready to go, I'm going to set up a remote desktop connection. First thing I need to do is set the Windows password. So I'm going to use the username drh0580. And the password. So apparently I can't set it here, but that's all right. So I'm going to take note of that password. I'm just going to put it up here for now. So since I was unable to set that password in Google Cloud, I'll set it here. All right, so I set the password and the remote desktop is working. And yeah, it's all good. So I'm just going to shut this down now. All right, now I'm going to modify the virtual machine instance. Going to change it to an N1 standard. All right, so now my virtual machine is updated to an N1 standard 1 virtual machine instance. All right, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to change the computer name and the time zone and fix the maps broker service issue. So I'm going to get my VM started back up. And give that another try. Might just need a minute to warm up. Use the handy dandy shortcut key, Windows pause break, to bring up the system dialog. Going to change my computer name. Before I restart, I'm going to change the time zone and fix the map brokers issue. So first I'll change my time zone. We are -5 Eastern time. So that looks good. Looks like I'm to change my password again. Change that through computer management. All right, so now I'm going to fix the maps broker service issue. The maps broker service is an unnecessary service that's used by applications to download maps. So we don't really need that on our server. So I'm going to go ahead and disable it. I'm going to go to Tools, Component Services, Services, and it is named Download Maps Manager. And I'm going to change it to disabled. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and restart my server and make sure everything is good. All right, so my computer name is changed. So I'm actually going to go ahead and look into each of these services and see if they're necessary. Yep, so that's for OneDrive. I'm not going to be using that. And this one, so the diagnostics policy service. So that's definitely a little bit odd. I'm not sure what's going on there because it's running now. User access logging service. All right, and for the diagnostics policy service and the user access logging service, it appears that this warning is being produced when the system is started up, and it's merely because it's delayed start. So I'm going to try to change these to automatic and see if that resolves the issue. And now for the other two services there. Yeah, that seems good. It's set to manual, so that should be fine. And let me see. I'm actually disable that OneDrive sync service. So interestingly, I don't seem to be able to modify this service. I'm kind of stumped here. Parameter incorrect doesn't really tell me much. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel. So I'm going to use regedit. And I looked up some information on where the registry key is located. And I'm going to reset my system here and see if those warnings go away. All right, so I was able to correct all of the service issues, and everything's good. All right, so now I'm going to be creating a new storage pool using my 3 10 gigabyte disks. And I'll be setting up parity. Creating the new virtual disk using that data storage pool. Call this data disk. All right, now I'm going to create a new volume on my virtual disk. Drive letter D. I'll call this data disk. And now I can see my disk is ready to go. Got 16 gigabytes available. Now I'll go to my D drive and I'll create a new folder. All right, so now I'm going to create a new data collector set using the performance monitor. I'll be using the system performance template, and I'm going to be storing my log on the D drive. I'm going to be changing some of these properties. I'm going to schedule it to run at 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Set an expiration from 1 week from now. And I'm going to set my stop condition for 5 minutes. And now that I have that created, I'm going to go ahead and start it. And I'm going to go ahead and generate some performance data. A little bit more processor and memory intensive. All right. Go ahead and stop that collector. I see I was at 61% CPU utilization. And I'll verify my log is there. And it is. All right, so now I'm going to remove one of the 10 gigabyte disks while the virtual machine is running. So I go into VM instances. I'm going to click on my instance name. Going to go down to the disks. Actually, rather edit and then go down to the disks and delete disk 3. Just gonna save that. So now it's updating the instance with the disk 3 removed. And now I'm gonna go to my virtual machine. Oops. And my D drive is still available. And it is still writable. I'll open my event viewer. And I do see that I have a warning. Disk 3 has been surprise removed. And I'm going to create an action for when this event occurs. And I'm going to go back over to Google Cloud and reattach that disk. All right, so now I have a new 10 gigabyte disk. Save it. I'll update this. And I see that I have my new blank disk there. I'm going to add it back to the storage pool. All right. And now I'm going to repair the virtual disk to remove that degradation warning. It should be good. So I believe this warning should go away. Let me go ahead and try to restart the system and see if that clears up. So it appears that the degradation warning is because it's still looking for that previously created disk. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Hmm. Hmm. So I do have the new disk attached. So I'm not really sure why it's not letting me. So it actually looks like I need to have So it looks like I should have actually repaired the issue before I reattached that disk, and I should have allowed Windows to actually correct the issue. Because it should allow me to remove that. So I'm going to go back over. I'm going to reattach it to disk 3. All right, so now I should still have that same issue. And I have Notepad opening up since I have detached that disk 4 and now it's in the disk 3 slot. So the event viewer task action is running. And now I should be able to correct this issue here. And it should automatically pick up that new disk and fix that degradation warning. So I did have a little hiccup with removing and re-adding the storage drive. However, I did manage to resolve it and get rid of the degradation warning. What I had to do was go into my Google Cloud platform, and I just had to make sure that, or rather, I had to edit the device name to match the drive that I had previously attached for that degradation warning to go away. So a little hiccup, but I got it figured out, and the storage pool no longer has that warning.